we talked about last week that compared to the first week of September when the bigger bulls are just kind of staging nearby and letting the younger guys do all the work. Last week, the big bulls started showing up saying, I'd hate to have to whoop you, but
But
I
I'm here
would
to
if I
do
have
that.
to. So at this point, when you get to September 15th-ish, somewhere in there, is it safe to say that if you got big groups of cows or even, 10 cows, there's probably going to be one of the older bulls in charge at this point?
They will be showing up this week to be in charge if they aren't already there. Yep.
Yeah.
This is the week when the big bulls know I'm not sitting on the sidelines any longer.
Yeah. You you mentioned the prior week, especially the first week was almost like preseason. This is like the playoffs.
Yeah.
It goes from preseason to the playoffs in the course of about 7 or 8 days.
Yep.
And this is there's plenty. Is it safe to say that at this time, these bulls that hold these cows are super aggressive and are not going to put up with anyone being nearby to the
Yep.
extent that they're tough enough to enforce the rule?
Yep. They're getting very protective now. They don't want an intruder getting close to the cows because during this week there will be cows that come into estrus. There will be cows that get bred during this week, and the big bulls, the mature bulls, the breeding bulls know that. And they
Okay.
don't want another bull coming in and taking ownership of the cows. They don't want to take a chance of missing out on that. So they've gone from no breeding activity really for the last 11 months and 2 weeks to it's all taking place over the
Uh,
next 2 weeks here. And they
yeah.
know that. And so this
Yeah.
is kind of the front end of that where they'll get run down towards the end. It'll be like just another annoying bull running around out there. I'm so focused. But right now, they're this is like the perfect storm. And I always utilize a couple things here. First, the fall equinox that lands on September 22nd, and so as the daylight hours get shorter on the 22nd of September, they're going to be equal to the nighttime hours. So the hours of darkness are going to equal the hours of daylight on September 22nd. That decrease in daylight is what triggers the cows to come into estrus. So it's usually within 3 or 4 days of the fall equinox that the cows start coming into estrus. And it can go either direction, but I always kind of use that 3 days, 4 days ahead of the fall equinox is when things get real. And so that's why I said this the 18th of September is it should be magical. That's when the cows will start estrus cycles, the bulls will start breeding, the days leading up, so the 15th to the 18th, 19th, 20th, somewhere in there, they're going to be super aggressive. They're going to be super protective. They're going to be super territorial, and they're not going to be completely locked in on breeding yet. So that's why I really think this third week is the week. Typically, on every season, I would say the third week is going to be the best week for having efficiency in calling in bulls. The fourth week, the intensity ratchets up even more than this. The vocalization, the bugling, the chaos that takes place 24 hours a day now gets even better. But you have a trade-off there, and that is the bulls are going to be focused on breeding, and they're going to be a little bit more difficult to pull away from the herds. So the third week is kind of the best of all the worlds combining. And this year, we get the benefit of no moon during pretty much the entire third and fourth week.
Yeah. So this week here, say an older bull's come in, he ran, you know, Peg Leg Pete out of there and said, "Pal, I hate to tell you this, but I'm taking these gals. And if you want to fight about it, this could be bad for a three-legged elk like you." Uh, but is there any chance that the victor, who got the spoils of victory, it sounds like there's still some chance because of how aggressive he is, and it's not the full-on estrus cycle. You might have a chance of pulling him slightly away from his cows, at least to come and challenge or to come and look or
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what makes this week so great is they're not locked in on breeding yet, so they are willing to leave their cows and come in 200 yards. They're still very protective of their cows and they don't want another bull coming in and stealing a cow off, but they will turn and come into a fight still. By the fourth week, it's a little bit more difficult. They're going to lock in, and you can scream all the challenges and insults you want, but that bull, if he's got a hot cow, is probably not going to come into fight at that point. He's already established the dominance. He's already got the cows. They're ready to be bred. It's a little too late to get mouthy at that point. So this week, the third week, he's still susceptible to that. Plus, you have all of these other 6 points that have been with the herd for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, that thought they were the herd bull. They just got proven wrong, and probably they didn't even have to fight about it. They're like, "Oh yeah, he is big," or he might have just turned and ran them down the hill a ways. Now they're sitting down there stewing, going, "I had made all these plans for the next 2 weeks that just got canceled instantaneously here, and I am not happy about that. I bought flowers, I did all this, and now I'm standing here with no dates, with no prom to go to." And they will fight at the drop of a hat now. So during this third week, you also get not only the mature herd bulls willing to come in and fight, you have all of these other sub-mature bulls that are still probably a pretty decent mature representation of a herd bull there, that don't have a herd. They're willing to come running to cow calls. They're willing to take a chance of fighting to say, I thought I had it. I used to have a herd. Now I don't. I'm going to go and reclaim a herd. So you have them willing to fight. Now you have all the young bulls going, there is chaos everywhere. This is the most exciting party I've ever been invited to. I'm going to go running in. So you just have a lot of really great things if you're into listening to elk bugling and setting up and having elk come into your setups. This is going to be the week.